Hello to you all. I am thrilled to welcome Jonathan Gabay, leading brand expert, international lecturer, including in Israel, author of several books, including that wonderful book, Brand Psychology. You know, Jonathan has appeared on so many Sky and BBC programs as a guest appearance. You feel he ought to have his own show. And this year, COVID-19, the year of COVID-19, he's developed really a most unique set of podcasts called Thought and Leaders. Go and look it up. From his studio in central London, he has talked to decision makers, people leading manufacturers in retail, high tech, from right across the globe. Together, they examine what can be achieved, even though politicians don't even see it for themselves. So, Jonathan, great to host you today.
Pleasure and a privilege, Michael. Wonderful to be here.
Okay, so Jonathan, we're going to spend the next few minutes looking at branding and marketing in the age of Corona, what can and cannot be done. So, jumping straight in, I know that many of those listening are owners or senior members of small, medium sized enterprises, those sort of enterprises without the spare resources to cope with a pandemic. So, from your perspective in sales and marketing, what's COVID taught us to date?
Well, there's several things you say without the resources of a major brand and stuff like that. But actually, even the major brands, one of the things that they've learned from COVID is thinking like a startup. I've been, as you said, in brands for a long time. Now it's about thinking in a much more innovative way. You're getting people like Starbucks, for example, rather than putting their marketing dollars onto the traditional platforms and channels, they're doing things like voice enabled ordering systems with Alexa. So they're thinking out of the box. They're thinking in an era where you can't usually be in front of people all the time. And so people are ordering from home and stuff like that. It's about being willing to test things. Getting done is better than perfect. And what do I mean by getting done is better than perfect? Do something, get it out there, see how it goes, test it. If it doesn't work, move on. I used to work with Virgin. And the thing about Branson, he realized this decades ago that he would start up a Virgin Books, a Virgin Music, a Virgin whatever it might be. He would give it a certain amount of time. And if it didn't work, move on.
What are some of the more unusual campaigns that you've seen that have really struck a chord, maybe intentionally or unintentionally, and why have they worked, do you think?
Yeah, I know, Michael, that you don't want to talk about politics. I'm going to have to bring politics into this. I don't know what it's like over in Israel, but we've been having a lot of campaigns which are telling us about COVID, or as you guys call it, Corona and all that stuff. But it's been telling us about, keeping safe and stuff like that. It's not about that they're great, these campaigns. It's about how awful they are. People are not getting the message. You mentioned brand psychology. People's attention is very, very, very short. On top of that, you've got people who are suffering from anxiety. They're worried about where the next paycheck is coming from and all the rest of it. You need to be very clear in terms of what your message is and get it out there, repeat it, and use the digital platforms in a way that you would never have done before.
Well, let me pick you up on that theme. I mean, a lot of people, when they start up a business or when they're trying to revamp, they go to their logo. And I know that's a pet theme of yours. In the past 2 months, I've had a couple of clients who've held up new campaigns because they didn't have a logo, which they felt would be important.
Mm.
And I know that you have a wonderful, wonderful slide on Apple's logo.
Hmm.
What's your take on this? Does logo help here at all?
I'm going to go further than the visual logo. I'm going to also talk about the sonic logo. This is your podcast. Sonic logos are really important. It's all about behavior and getting people that whenever they hear the logo, whenever they see the logo, they're thinking about that brand. More than that, I'll go even further, actually, if you don't mind, Michael. Logos, they're essential, but what really matters is can you deliver what you say you can deliver?
Sure.
Because there's too much posturing out there. People are fed up with it, whether it comes to politicians, companies, whatever it might be, that people are making a lot of promises. Nowadays, people want to see action, action this day, right now.
What are some of the no-nos, things that you shouldn't maybe have been tried and have gone wrong, or you definitely should not try? What have you seen over the past 6 months or so?
When I started off in advertising, one of the clients that I had was British Airways. And there was a very famous ad called the Red Eye ad. And it was about catching the red eye from London to New York. You'd have to get up very early and had to be very macho and all that sort of idea. It was all about hierarchy. Today, companies mustn't come across as just about being hierarchy stuff. It's about caring. It's about sharing. It's about transparency. It's about honesty. It's about authenticity. It's about that word that everyone talks about nowadays, which is the K word, kindness. Kindness is a funny thing because you could say that you're going to be kind. Again, it goes back to what I was saying. Do it. So share initiatives in terms of your brand. Share initiatives with other brands. So, for example, you'll have a retailer who might have a package of goods which will feature several brands that are going out there. It's showing people that we are truly all in this together.
It's interesting you say that, playing on the themes of caring and transparency, because I was wondering, looking ahead to 2021, what themes do you think will come through in terms of marketing ideas? How should people, you know what, to create trust with their clients when you have the Trumps, Borises, Bibbies of this world who are just trying to get through with slogans?
It's not about slogans, it's about action. The last thing you want is just yet another slogan which is shallow. People want to see a brand that they feel understands them, not just by what they say, but by what they do. The rest of it is pure political posturing, and honestly, nobody in this current world has time for that anymore.
Very, very good points you make. And I thank you for your time, Jonathan. It's been very helpful. And I'm sure those people listening will thank you as well. Jonathan, we look forward to seeing you again in the not too distant future. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Great pleasure. Thank you.